Welcome to Goon Squad's Decentralized News, where we cover this week's biggest stories affecting the crypto economy and Polygon meme coins. I'm Piter, joined as always by my fellow goon, Ozzy. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fucking great, dude. I'm doing great.
Oh, you're just not worried about getting banned right now, are you? You think
Nope.
Trump's going to? That's Trump vibes.
Oh, no. This is literally just me being in a great mood right now.
Awesome. I love it. So let's kick it off a little different this week. Let's talk about Polymarket because it was an interesting week. I've kicked off when had their 1.5 version. Do you know anything about what's changed on it?
There's some UI fixes that they've been doing, and there's some other things that they're getting ready to like implement that are similar to Pump Fun and that brethren.
So
But
2.0 is coming.
yeah, I think 2.0 is coming. 1.5 was like a stopgap. They wanted to get some stuff out, and then 2.0 is coming, is my understanding. So, yeah, Polygon's meme coins did pretty well. They had a big Halloween event with that version 1.5, and the last big event with it was hosted by Polygon, but it featured Jesse Eckel, Goon, Tryon, and Pat. So
okay, so that wasn't their event.
no, it wasn't their event. It was organized by Polygon, but it was well attended. Over 12,000 viewers on the stream on Twitter. That was very.
That was like a genesis moment for kind of the big meme coin that popped on when markets this week.
Yeah, it was a genesis moment for Gator. Gator was born during the stream, got a lot of love during the stream, and popped off. Graduated in about 7 hours off one market there, and it's been holding pretty steady. It hit just over 100K market cap. It's sitting at about 68 right now, and they've just started getting started. Really, they've got 8.5% in the marketing of supplying the marketing wallet, and the website's on the way. Worth watching what they're cooking.
They got a marketing budget, which is pretty cool, and it's below 100,000 market cap right now. So this is not financial advice. I know you're bullish on a Polygon meme coin season, but it's an interesting opportunity. And that's the kind of opportunities that are out there. Why are you so bullish on the Polygon meme season anyway?
There's a few things that make me really bullish on Polygon meme season. One is Polymarkets. Polymarkets is being talked about everywhere. And with the election, there's almost 200 or 300 million dollars in liquidity on Polymarkets that is going to get freed up by the election. So that's a lot of liquidity to enter the market all at one time. The other thing is Polymarkets doesn't have a token, so what if they decide to do an airdrop of some kind? Capitalize on that craze. What if there's an airdrop? That will draw a lot of attention to Polygon and therefore draw a lot of dollars, through the airdrop, but also just from people trying to farm Polymarkets and everything. And then number 3 is there's been a huge shift in Polygon's messaging around memes. They've been really embracing them, and we're seeing
that's something you're seeing in turn, like from your own networking.
Yeah, my own networking is over the last 2 to 3 weeks. The perspective of, we're not really sure on memes to, you know what? No, like memes are a part of culture. Memes do build community, and memes like do positive things for chains. That's really changed, especially in the last 2-3 weeks, and they're trying their best and trying to do more to support memes on their chain. And this Halloween event was just one example, but I'm sure that more is coming because they even supported the Meme Coin Mania event that came just the day after on the Friday.
And the one thing that kind of sells me a little bit on memes is just the idea that when retail comes back this cycle, there's a fair shot that a large chunk of that goes into meme coins. Now, whether it's on Polygon or not remains to be seen, but there is a lot of opportunity on Polygon because it's such a small beginning of that market there.
Absolutely. You can position yourself pretty easily on most of these tokens. All of the major meme coins on Polygon are just below 1 million market cap,
which is like the first and biggest to ever come from when it got up to 8 or something like that.
Nine something, but
very briefly, and it spent most of its life below 4, and it's now below 1. But looking at the community, there's no sign of it going anywhere. It's not gonna. I don't know, it's hard to imagine it going to 0, I guess.
Yeah, no, like the community keeps working, and Polygon has been working to support Goon even more. As they're supporting all of the meme coins, we're seeing QuickSwap and Polygon try and really support Goon and the meme coin space as a whole. And as I mentioned, Goon hosted their Meme Coin Mania event with AVAX, and that got 35,000 views on X. And so that's building on what they did with Cardano about a month and a half ago. And the market was not particularly good that day. There was a lot going on, but they got Kakinu, the biggest, like, kind of the meme coin that kicked almost all of it off in some ways. Like Pepe from an AVAX perspective, but even from this meme coin season perspective, there was Pepe, and Bonk, but Kakinu was probably one of the big catalysts I think it was in February, to really set off a meme coin season. And so I think that's really bullish for the space. And there was some really great collaboration that went on. During those two events, we saw some pretty big announcements drop too.
Which ones? I wasn't at that event, so which ones came? I know that Tryon has an NFT sale coming out. Were they talking about that?
Yeah, so that's when they first announced the date for their NFT sale on the 15th. You have to own Tryon to get whitelisted. And then Pat announced that they have a couple of new things coming. They've got a Telegram trading bot allowing you to buy meme coins or buy tokens on Polygon. But
yeah, I don't know if you've ever used a Solana trading bot. They work great, but the one that I've used, and it's just like that. It's just like very similar. But anyway, go ahead. It is like one of the cooler utilities coming out of like the Pol meme coin space.
Sure. And what's really cool is the Pat trading bot now allows you to buy with ETH on either ETH or on Base and buy into any Pol token or Pol meme directly. And they're working on launching that so that you can buy Pol memes with Sol directly as well. So that's pretty awesome because it really brings that ability to just take your money anywhere, and you can then cash back out into Sol or Base or ETH.
Is that possible because of the ag layer?
Not really. It just has to do with some of the tricks, but it has to do also with just the fact that fees on Polygon are low, so it makes it easy and cheap to make those kind of bridge transactions.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like new capabilities that are because of the ag layer. Okay, so I can look at this solid and say, oh, this is because of that. So I have my eye out for that. That's the question. Why?
The ag layer isn't fully deployed yet, so we're not seeing those pieces yet, but it will be. Like, that liquidity will all be together once the ag layer is fully deployed. And
one of the things I imagined when the ag layer would come out was I wouldn't have to deposit Pol on Ethereum to be able to stake it, but that's not the case. Like, you still have to do that if you want to stake Pol.
Yeah, so the ag layer will be solving a lot of those issues, and the aggregator, which is whose name is Gator, is trying to encourage everyone to get to that space. Pat's also announced that they've got an AI model coming, so I'm pretty excited on all of these things that Goon, Tryon, Pat, and Gator are working on. Really, I think it's got me pretty bullish, especially with the amount of liquidity that should be coming out of Polymarkets in the next week or two.
Yeah, the other really fun thing about it is, like, one of the reasons to get into meme coins is to get in early, and it just make this idea that the small fish can get rich is one of the fundamentals of meme coins, I guess you can say, like why people want to do it. So there's just something about just the overall size of the market right now. It's very high risk, but it's just a cool opportunity to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add to cap it off is just like all of the meme coins. Gator's new, but like the aggregator is new, but Tryon, Pat, and Goon have been around for at minimum 2 months in the case of Pat, but Tryon and Goon have been around for 3+. I think almost 4 or 5 months now. So it's not like they're teams that are just launching and going away. And so I think that's pretty bullish for possible success.
What Goon's trying to do is to be the bullhorn, right? That's their goal, is to be the advertiser for Polygon almost. And it seems like it would be in their interest to really support all these other meme coins in the space, which I think they're doing. They're collaborating with everybody.
Yeah, they've been the ones working in the doors with Polygon. They've been the ones out organizing these big events. Yeah. So
all right. Well, we cannot get away. Let's shift into the major stories. So we got the election coming tomorrow. Oh my gosh, let's go.
Have you early voted, or are you gonna have to stand in line tomorrow?
Yeah, if I vote, Hawaii seems like almost certainly going to be Democratic, but I will try to get out and vote. I mean, I have to work. Some people get the day off. I don't. So we'll see if I can make it happen. But yeah, if it's a huge line, like I gotta go to work. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And I'll have to register that day, so I'll have to go with a little bit of patience. You know? But I'm more motivated to vote this time than ever, even if it's just symbolic, because it's an electoral college, and almost certainly this is going to be a blue state. It's famous for it. We have California and Hawaii are kind of. When I first moved to Hawaii, there were 0 Republicans in the state Senate. There are a few now, but that's just to give you an idea of how blue this area is. But Trump and Harris, going tomorrow. No one seems to be able to say with any confidence, without giving themselves lots of wiggle room, who's going to win. So true nail biter, we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. There are basically 3 ways. Trump wins, Harris wins, and nobody wins. I think that's probably the worst case scenario for all the markets. Just markets don't like uncertainty. Harris getting in seems worse for crypto. Maybe it affects the top. We get a muted bull cycle. Trump gets in. But then there's a question of, okay, what if Trump gets in with a Republican sweep? Because that's the other thing that could happen is, are we going to get a split government? Because there's the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And if you see a straight sweep for Republicans and all of those, that is the most bullish scenario. And right now, Polymarkets is betting on a Republican sweep versus the other ones, although it's at 37%. There's 17% for a Democratic sweep, and then all the other of the 9 possibilities are being bet on as well.
Yeah, and let's take that into consideration. 37% is not. It's just over a third of.
9, it's out of 9 possibilities.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily like a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. It looks,
but it is the favorite on the betting markets.
It is the favorite right now.
Yeah, by a lot. The second place would be. Second is some type of split. It's in the 20%, and then a Democratic sweep, which would maybe be worse for crypto.
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah, and the one thing that we can also note is that the odds for Trump versus Harris have shifted a little bit in the last week since we last reported, with Harris climbing back. Yeah, Harris has been climbing back up, and on Pancakes and Predictions, we were talking about how the possibility is that we could see another 1 billion, 1.5 billion in trading volume between today and when the announcement's made on the election, because it likely isn't going to be called that night and might not be called that morning.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty interesting. And if you want to play the odds, there's a little bit of extra wiggle room on Harris right now, where you could, especially if you bet last week around when her odds were around 36% or so, you'd be up right now about 10% or a decent percentage.
It seems like the market just got excited about Trump getting in, and it went into the 60%, and then it just the polls were too close, and it's just got real sober for a minute, and it got back to normal, sort of, or where maybe it should have been the whole time. But I think the market's just too excited about the possibility of one candidate winning over the other, and they can't help themselves. But
yeah, Fortune's reported that the market has priced in a Trump victory.
Like on the TradFi side, right?
On a TradFi side. So that was something that was interesting.
But it's so hard to sift through it all, because both campaigns are just spinning up as hard as they can right now, whatever they can. It's just hard to. It'd be nice for just the dust to finally settle and we see what do we have. But if you needed any more reason to, I guess, vote one side on a single, if you're a single issue voter, which I would put myself in that camp. That's the prevailing thought. But Trump has promised to fire Gary Gensler on day one, so that we'll see if that happens. If he comes through with his promise, I can see that happening though. And then it also came from CBS News that JD Vance owns between 250 and 500,000 in Bitcoin. So if you needed any more reassurance, he is officially a holder. And then
so he owns at least 3 or 4 Bitcoin at the very least.
At least what we can what CBS could verify and know. But yeah, that's just the state of it. Yeah, I'm just praying for a nice, peaceful election. I think Bitcoin rises no matter what. It's just a matter of, is it a long war or a short one?
Yeah, hopefully it's not drawn out. We just don't need a Gore Bush situation.
But we do have this next series of stories is why I personally am bullish long term, no matter what the outcome is. It really doesn't matter.
No, it absolutely does not matter.
Carthright, your time horizon is long enough.
Yeah. That being said, Carthright, which is a pension advisor, has a pension fund that they advise, which is a multi-billion-dollar UK pension fund that has announced a 3% Bitcoin allocation. As a percentage, this is 30 times higher than the Wisconsin pension fund allocation, and it's the largest allocation of any sovereign fund in the world so far. So this is a huge move in terms of adoption. We're constantly seeing more people add Bitcoin to their balance sheets, but to see a pension add 3% into Bitcoin, that's a pretty big allocation for a pension fund, which needs to be guaranteeing out payouts. So
yeah, they do a lot of due diligence, But I think, especially if you're a pension fund, like your time horizon is long enough. You're looking for long-term stability in these things so that they last. So, yeah, it makes sense on the surface to me.
And this follows after the state of Michigan's pension fund reporting that they hold about $7 million in Bitcoin ETFs. So not as much as this pension fund is planning to put in.
It's more a state of Michigan pension fund. It's just a pretty conservative, serious group, right?
Yeah, to see pension funds allocating into Bitcoin is absolutely wild.
Yeah, we reported, I think it's a couple weeks ago, it was like a firefighter. So it was a city, but still, these are serious people that do serious jobs.
These are people who are betting their retirements, like their retirement pensions on, and that's pretty big to think about. It's not just one individual saying, I want to, but it's large groups of individuals. Yes, we want to include Bitcoin as part of our pension and our retirement. So that is pretty huge.
Well, we got some mining news too. The largest European Deutsche Telekom to start Bitcoin mining using surplus energy. So another great use case in terms of Bitcoin mining and using excess energy and making it more efficient. Great news.
Yeah, MicroStrategy announced a 3-year, $42 billion plan to acquire more Bitcoin through debt and equity offerings. So
all gas, no brakes, this guy.
Yeah, Michael Saylor continuing. And more in state news, Florida's chief financial officer says the state holds over $800 million in crypto-related investments. We're starting to talk big numbers in terms of crypto-related investments by states in the U.S. This is
certainly one of the reasons why I remain bullish long term. And there's so much more on ramps now. Like the groundwork, the plumbing, the rails have been laid, it seems like, in this bear season for all this.
Yeah. So really, it's hard not to be bullish on Bitcoin long term. The ETFs are buying more Bitcoin a day than they can mine. I think they're often buying 5 times the supply of what's being mined a day on the market. So that's absolutely wild, and game theory is playing out. But not just game theory, but we could also be talking about some macro too. some people are saying what's happening this week, the big event is not the election, but what the Fed does on Thursday.
There was the most shocking report of non-farm payrolls. So new jobs created. The previous was almost 225,000. It was expected to come in a little over 100,000. It came in at 12,000. This is a number that can go negative, and that's when it really starts to scare people. But the U.S. unemployment rate came in unchanged at 4.2%. Still a little bit high, probably a little higher than they wanted. But man, be careful about quitting your job because there may not be one waiting for you. A nervous number.
Yeah,
Everything
I mean,
else,
they're expecting over a 50% drop in non-farm payrolls, and they actually got like a 90 to 95% drop in non-farm payrolls in just a month. That's absolutely insane if the Fed has a kind of notion of maximum employment. This comes in as GDP came in under expectations, 2.8% below the 3.1% expected. PCE came in, and so inflation came in at expectation, basically unchanged, flat, not really seeing any upward or downward movement. And a Fed meeting on November 7th where we're expecting 98% chance of a quarter basis point cut. The remaining 2% is expecting no change, but at 98% in less than 4 days, all the data is out there and cut.
And the Fed has been pretty on point in terms of coming in at expectations with what they're going to do. And it does seem like we're going to get quarter basis point cut for the next two meetings. There's another one December 18th, although that one could change, who knows. But yeah, it's looking like steady as she goes, another little bit of a cut.
And I've talked about this 2 or 3 times now, but the key number for money flow in terms of that starting to change is once we get 3/4 of a basis point cut in the market. That's when the crypto market really seems to kind of start taking off and feeling the effects of the interest rate cuts. And that would happen with this Thursday meeting. And if we got an indication that we'll see another quarter basis point cut in December, that you're just feeding the market and encouraging some pretty strong growth, I think, for Bitcoin going into Q4 and into Q1 of next year.
Yeah, we got those two major catalysts, right? We got the interest rates coming down, and after the election, no matter what happens, but like typically after the U.S. election is when the action happens as far as which quarter or which half a year we're going to get our cycle pop.
Yeah, the reality is as long as there's no uncertainty, like if we can know within a couple days if we find out November 7th who's the president and we get the rate cut and they signal the next one, I expect Bitcoin we're trading somewhere around 67 right now. I expect Bitcoin to probably hit 90. Like,
do you think there'll be a big sell-off if Harris wins? Like, let's say it's just clear Harris wins. You know?
I think that there could be at least a small sell-off. Fortune was predicting that the stock market has priced in a Trump victory, and so I would say at least it's partially priced in crypto as well, and so we probably see at least somewhat of a pullback, 60 maybe 50K pullback while the market absorbs the news and maybe some of that overzealous hype comes down, and then we see a big takeoff from there.
I'm trying to be conservative and keep a little dry tinder. The only thing that will calm my nerves after she wins, which could very well happen, is that I can lean
DCA
into
for
it.
Cheaper.
I can buy the effing dip.
That's absolutely true. And someone who some have been accusing of causing the dip is Vitalik. But instead of coming out talking about Ethereum necessarily, Vitalik's praising the performance of Polygon and their ZKP Plonky 3.
Can I read this? Because it means so much to me.
Yes, do it.
Okay. So this is what he said, and then hopefully Ozzy can do something with this. Okay, you guys won the game. 2 million hash a second equals 62 megabytes a second of Merkling is enough to fully rehash a theoretical maximum sized Ethereum consistent state without a single slot. Now do Blake 3 and SHA 256, please.
And it's within a single shot slot, so and so that's all he's saying is that Polygon and Plonky 3 probably can handle a massive amount of transactions. They're talking, I think, if I remember the context of this tweet, it was talking about being able to achieve 1,000 transactions a minute or something along those lines. And Polygon and their awesome team building the Aglair tech basically proved that it's possible with Polygon. So that,
yeah, I mean, I saw the excitement around it, just that they were getting a shout out from Vitalik and praising their tech and the work they've been doing. So that part I understood, but man, when I read it out loud, it's just, I have no idea what this is. I don't.
And that's as they're getting ready to announce that big grants program, their next with Pole Rush, and the Aglair Summit is coming in 2 weeks. Really, that's going to be in Bangkok. Really, lots of major events coming for Polygon. I really think that when I said there's a meme season coming to Polygon, this is just some of the stuff. This is just scratching the surface at what I think could be playing a role in that Polygon season.
We can transition a little bit because of the meme mention, but one of the meme season we mentioned was on AVAX. So Trader Joe, it rebranded to Let's Fucking Joe or LF Joe or LFJ, but they're going to launch Token Mill, its own version of Pump.Fund this month. So meme coins are not going anywhere. I think this is just a sign of the truth of that, but also maybe the dilution of that.
Yeah, to add one last story to that, Sui, SUI, recorded higher net inflows than Solana and Ethereum combined with 24.3 million, and saw some huge volume over the weekend after their launch of their version of Pump.Fund called Hop.Fund. So that they're also seeing some pretty big action through memes. Good on Sui, one to watch maybe as they continue to gain attention and have their own little meme season kick off over the next little while potentially. This comes on maybe less good news for Aptos, with $99 million worth of Aptos tokens being unlocked on November 11th. So not great news for Aptos, but could cause a little bit of selling.
And we also got Chainlink's data streams have launched on the Solana mainnet. So just more Solana news. Solana is just everywhere right now.
On the other side, on kind of OP stack news, Kraken's announced the launch of their Ethereum L2 on the OP stack. BOB is joining the OP superchain, and Swell is migrating to Optimism and joining the superchain with their L2. That's some unfortunate news for Polygon, but not seeing as much adoption of the Aglair just yet, but good for OP.
And just going back to Sol, Canary Capital filed for a Sol ETF. So when Sol ETF is still in the news. And finally, we have Franklin Templeton expands its $420 million on-chain U.S. government money market fund to Base. And Base, Optimism, Sol, constant shout outs.
Yeah, I think the Aglair will soon take that on with IMX and everyone else building on the Aglair taking off. IMX unfortunately did receive a Wells notice last week, but with the ongoing kind of things with...
Yeah, there's one more. The Gary Gensler thing matters, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's one more reason why Gensler matters.
Yeah, it seems like if Gary Gensler keeps his job, there may be more downside on IMX, no?
Yeah.
I'm just speculating.
Oh, absolutely. So worth keeping an eye on. That being said, I invite you to like and subscribe. We really appreciate everybody watching our content. And please remember, none of this is financial advice. We're a bunch of degens just talking about crypto. We're goons having a good time. So please do your own research on any of the tokens and anything that we talk about on the show. We are not experts, but we're here for your entertainment. So please join us next week, and thank you for watching.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.